Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Agile Network India's next event for the day. It is hosted by Mumbai chapter on the topic of enterprise agility, need for the bright world. And we have a wonderful list of panelists with us, and Yashashri is going to be our moderator. So before we begin the event, I would like to thank our founding sponsor, Innovation Roots. It is a leading consulting and training service provider, helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. It is one of the leaders and pioneers of niche publishing services and well known for content collaborating with global thought leaders, authors, and creators. Please visit www.innovationroots.com to see their upcoming trainings and summits. Thank you. Next, I would like to thank our sponsor, Agile. Agile is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services Limited. It is a purely cloud-based enterprise Agile planning tool, along with DevOps capabilities. Enterprises can use Agile to adopt Agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using enterprise scaling frameworks such as Safe, Disciplined, Agile, Less, and More. You can try out Agile for free up to 20 users for 1 year by signing up at agile.io or reach out to us for any inquiries or exclusive product demo. Please check out the Agile page on Agile Network India website for more information. Now I would like to hand over the mic to our moderator for the session. Yashashri, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the panel discussion. My name is Yashasri Barve, and we, the Mumbai chapter of Agile Network India, bring to you a very interesting topic today. I would be your host or the moderator for the panel discussion. I work for Tata Consultancy Services for more than 22 years now, and my current role is an Agile coach and a transformation consultant. I have been practicing Agile since 2007 and have been in many roles. Like I started as a practitioner, team member, then a Scrum Master, and now working as an Agile coach. I have spoken at many conferences and I have been contributing in the TCS Agile community. I love to write. I have been blogging on various topics, including Agile, and I also authored a recently published book, Agile Mindset Magic, Stories from the Trenches. So I'm very happy to be here with all of you. And let us take a minute to get introduced to our panel today, right? So we can start with Jasmine. Jasmine, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Yashasri. I'm pleased to be part of this panel and even more interesting discussion that we have lined up for us today. Hi, friends. I'm Jasmine. I love to continuously learn and implement those learnings in my daily life, be it personal or professional. This probably might have led me or got me more interested into Agile. I was first introduced to Agile when I was working for an e-learning company where we started developing a product across the enterprise. We started using Agile and we experienced that there was a great teamwork that was established, and by the end of the second month itself, we were able to see amazing results, which the team together had worked towards that goal. So that got me more curious into Agile. I started learning more about it, and alongside, I also did some certifications such as Agile Certified Practitioner, Safe Agilist 5.0, and Agile Coaching from IC Agile. I work for Intellect Design Arena, and I have been part of many teams where we have shifted from the traditional approach to Agile approach. And overall, I have been enjoying working on Agile. Personal friend, I love nature a lot, and observing nature closely gives me many clues as to how to adapt and survive in a changing environment. That's about me. Yashasri, over to you again, and I'm eager to hear from other panelists. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you for the introductions. All right, we also have Samir Gharpure with us. Samir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure.
Thank you, Yashashri. I'm Samir Garpure. I bring in over 2 decades of IT delivery management, capacity demand management, and IT projects. Worked on typical global projects across the globe and working from India. I was first introduced to Agile in 2005 and have seen the various evolutions and flavors of Agile over the last 15, 16 years. I'm also very passionate about sharing my knowledge with others. So I have delivered numerous trainings related to Agile, PMP, as well as technical and soft skills across the industry and across the companies that I have worked with. And happy to be part of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. Welcome to the panel. Next panelist we have is Jigar Sanghvi. Jigar, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Yashashree. Very happy to be here, and I'm Jigar Sanghvi. I'm working with UST as an Agile coach, and I have been a servant leader for about 11 years, which has been a great transformation journey for me, not only as a professional but also as an individual. And apart from agility, my the passions include traveling and fitness. That's about
Great.
me.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Thank you, Jigar. Welcome to the panel discussion. Okay, so we have a great lineup today, around 30, 40 years of experience in IT and in Agile development, and that's awesome. And we also have a nature lover, we have a fitness enthusiast, and we have a person who likes to train others and teach, share the knowledge. So it's exciting, to start with this. Great. So we have this very interesting topic of enterprise agility, need for the bright world. Let us start by understanding, what the industry thinks about enterprise agility. McKinsey and Company defines enterprise agility as agility across the whole enterprise to combine speed and stability. They also feel that it helps role clarity, it helps innovation as well as brings in operational discipline, and it can produce, which is I think most important, positive outcomes for organizational health and performance. The Business Agility Institute defines enterprise agility as a response to competitive pressure, to adapt fast to changes, something all of us agilists know, to market demands, and also seize opportunities while reducing costs. So, a lot of things, right, that are relating to enterprise agility. So, let us try to understand from our panel as to how do they define or what do they feel about enterprise agility from their experience. Uh, shall we start with you, Jasmine?
Yes, thank you, Yashashri. As you rightly pointed out about enterprise agility, ability to adapt and overcome challenges and tap the opportunities, I would like to, relate it with a story that we probably all of us might have heard. Uh, Interestingly, this story was written in 1963, but the relevance and the relatability is like very similar to the today's environment, business environment, and the solution that enterprise agility can offer or is offering in today's times. So this story is about uh, a small black fish swimming. It's written by Leo Leone. So in this story, there is a small black fish which is living with other small fishes. This is a small fish living with other small fishes and enjoying life, enjoying swimming, and everything was going well. However, one fine day, a big fish comes and eats up all the other fishes. Only one left is swimming. He feels very lonely and dejected. He starts swimming across the ocean and he sees the wonders in the ocean. There are colorful starfishes, huge lobsters, and he is loving all that. At the same time, he's also alone. He meets another group of small fishes and he asks them to join him. But other fishes are so fearful that they will be caught up by big fishes and they will be eaten up. So they come up with a plan and idea how to overcome that. They arrange themselves in the form of a very big fish, and they learn to swim together, act together. When by doing this, they were able to swim across in the ocean together, and they were able to drive away big fishes. At the same time, they were able to enjoy the bounties that the ocean had to offer. Now, why I brought this story up is uh, to understand the relatability of how our environment is changing, how big companies, they like topmost companies, like companies like Nokia, which were like very big name, but they were paced out because of the changes that happened and they were not able to adapt. However, enterprise agility offers the operating system to the organization to function in such a way that they are able to adapt to changes quickly, they're able to uh, redirect their priorities and work towards value proposition and not just overcome the challenges, but also tap the opportunities that the changes are presenting. That's my idea of enterprise agility. Thank you.
I would like to add to what Jasmine said. Enterprise agility is adapting the agile practices and principles across the organization. It's not enough to do the things in bits and pieces or in pockets of an enterprise or an organization, but to ensure that all of the enterprise does it in an orchestrated manner so that the benefits accrue, and as is the norm, the sum should be more than the individual parts. That's how enterprise agility should be orchestrated.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with what Jasmine and Samir mentioned, and I really love that story about the fishes, Jasmine. Uh, so as similar to what Samir just mentioned, yes, it is very important to for the enterprise to practice the aspect of inclusion while working with enterprise agility. And when I say inclusion, it also includes all the departments. So long gone are the days when only the IT or the engineering arm needed to be agile. Now we start talking about the business agility, which includes all the departments: HR, marketing, finance, admin, etc. And of course, the communication around what agility means to each of these is also will also play a key role.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing views. And I completely agree with that, right? And I have an example of one of the organizations where even the marketing team, right? They tried to learn because you mentioned marketing, so it just reminded me. So they they learned the agile principles and they really see, normally what happens is any publications that they work upon, normally it goes through like, gather everything, work on everything, and, then get it like long process of approvals, at least in enterprises. So they really wanted to try out these agile methods for one of their initiatives that was a strategic initiatives. So they literally took quarterly targets and they ran sprints and they prioritized some of these stories that had to be published, and they had a daily, and it was amazing to hear from them, and I was like, can you take this up? They're like, no, I will take it in the next sprint. I said, what did you say? You'll take it in the next sprint. So but it was amazing, and they literally they completed, like they completed their target like well before time, and they were completely focused, and the pipeline was going through. So I agree, yeah. And of course this pandemic has presented a lot of opportunities for organizations and enterprises to deal with this difficult situation and demonstrate their agility, right? We saw several enterprises switching successfully to remote work. They could capitalize on the new opportunities or they change their offerings. And of course, the ones who did that definitely demonstrated their enterprise agility. So it is definitely something which is very relevant today, right? And in today's world, uh, so we are taking a different view of the world today. and we are calling it as a bright world, right? And bright is of course an acronym. B is for blur, where we see that the boundaries across industries are getting blurred. And R is for risky, where there are uncertainties, there are risks that are there everywhere. People are coming up with their hypothesis and trying to prove or disprove those hypotheses in this risky world. I is for interconnected. So of course, everybody is connected with each other. The whole supply chain is global now, right? So that is what I stands for. G for global. Uh, H is for high tech, right? Everywhere people are using high technology for whatever work they are doing. And T is for timely, which is majorly focusing on the importance of things that are happening at the most opportune moment. So in this context of bright world, let me start with the question for the panel. So as we heard about the importance of the enterprise agility, um, why do you think it, like, why should we care, or why is it important in this bright world? So maybe we can start with Samir.
Okay. Well, I would like to quote Shakespeare and specifically Hamlet here, that to be or not to be agile has ceased to be the question. The question is, how soon can we be agile? And let me clarify here. Agile need not be taken in the narrow context of the software development itself. It needs to be a mindset and how agile and how adaptable each of the parts of the organization can be. I would like to give a specific example. A few years back, the CEO of a major monolith in India decided to come up with a passion project, a low cost vehicle, and things were done with much fanfare. Unfortunately, the dealer network and the marketing network were still trying to do the marketing and the selling using the age old methods of selling that particular product, whereas it required a more different, and they needed to think on their feet and tweak their processes and the way they were doing things to sell that new product, which they could not. And because of that, the success of the car, which was guaranteed, which was supposedly guaranteed, did not actually materialize. So that's a classical example of what happens when people don't orchestrate their things properly, don't do it in an agile fashion, and try to do things that were done in number of years back. Because as things move in the bright world, or whether we call it the VUCA world, we need to be adaptable and agile and brace ourselves so that we are able to better wade through the various challenges that are there every day in the market. So that's my views.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Samir. I think definitely very valid points, right? We're talking about the whole ecosystem, and especially I can relate to the interconnected aspect of Bright here, and of course the aspect of agility. Why it is, really important, especially in today's context, right? And I also feel that enterprise agility across the whole enterprise, so not just about thinking about maybe just the manufacturing line, but also about all other aspects of how to take this product to the market and how to market it, and all that had to be really touched for that particular product to be successful, which probably did not happen. Yeah. So definitely there are a lot of success factors that can probably contribute to a complex topic like enterprise agility that we just saw, right? So let us hear from our panel on what has been their experience on the key success factors that are probably needed for embracing enterprise agility. Yeah. So maybe we can start with Jigar. Jigar, would you like to share any stories?
Yes, yes, of course. Yes. Uh, so, talking about the key success factors in embracing enterprise agility, it almost sounds to me like the ingredients that go into the formation of an amazing recipe. So if I ask us all to imagine our favorite dish and feel that taste in our mouth, yeah, and so how does it feel? Now again, the second time if I ask us all to imagine that favorite dish And but think if the chef or the person who cooked it, they created the dish without any one ingredient, will it feel the same? Will it be the same experience? No, right? So needless to say, all the ingredients are important. They play a very important role, isn't it? And talking about enterprise agile adoption also, it's the same story. Uh, as far as enterprise agile adoption goes, all the aspects are important. And what are those? So that there are 6 key aspects according to me. It's the first one is learning and the safe culture, the appropriate processes, the digital technology, employee engagement, lean product development, and the unquestionable customer focus. Yeah. So what I just did is very conveniently did an analogy of the above 6 aspects with the ingredients in a recipe, and I also conveniently did an analogy of the coaches to the chefs. But is it a fair analogy to make? I don't think so. It is not a fair analogy because of a key difference here, which is complexity. Okay. Unlike a recipe, the proportion of ingredients is not the same every time in every enterprise agile adoption in the different organizations. Yeah. And it's very important to understand that. As an agile coach, I have failed massively with the same approach that has helped me receive great success elsewhere. Yeah. So according to me, the biggest success factor in embracing enterprise agility is the art, okay, of accepting and working with complexity. Yeah. And when we talk about that art, uh, how can an organization leverage that? Okay, and for me, it ties very tightly with the aspect of culture. Yeah, but then again, that there is one another big question: what forms the culture? Okay. So that there are 3 key aspects again as far as the culture goes. Yeah. It is largely driven by the leadership behavior and the communications. Not only that, how that behavior and the communications cascade through the organization. What is the leadership measuring? So this is the second one I'm talking about. What is the leadership measuring, and how are they reacting to it? Also plays a key role from the cultural standpoint. And the third and very important point again is what is leadership's role if, say, for example, the customer satisfaction is coming, but at the cost of employee safety and happiness. Yeah, it's very easy to say that we as an organization promote psychological safety and the team's self-management. But how do you really understand what's the reality at the ground level? Yeah, does the answer lie in the employee satisfaction surveys or more team bonding exercises? Is it really enough to ask in a survey that rate on a scale of 1 to 10, how safe do you feel here? What really worked wonder for us, was this very key exercise that where we took time out and engaged in one-on-one and group interactions with the employees at all levels. Where we did very open-ended feedback discussions around topics like what changes have you experienced at the workplace over the last quarter or for 6 months, and we just listened. Even when the employees finished, we kept silence. We were all ears. Then they spoke more. We tried to probe more, and we got more information. So this way, what we did is actually we gathered stories. We gathered stories, from our very own employees, identified significant ones, identified similar and strong patterns, and understood what areas needed attention. And so I think understanding complexity and responding by probing, sensing, and then responding is key aspect. And I also definitely should talk about one aspect called as the open space technology, right? Which has again been a very key aspect in terms of from the cultural standpoint. Yeah, so open space technology, where it's one of the key ways again to enable all kinds of people in the organization to create inspired discussions and events. And so Steve Jobs demonstrated that very nicely when the first office of Apple was created, where he asked for the huge office cafeteria to be made in the center of the office. It was completely open space where all people were invited to just have those casual discussions, as well as to uh, that also led to the innovation aspects as well. Yeah.
I completely echo what Jigar mentioned, that we must embrace complexity and not be fearful of that, and not let not that affect us. We embrace it. At the same time, how do we get value out of it? How do we make it simpler? Not just by dividing it into smaller this thing, but we work around value, and thinking towards what creates the maximum value, and the simplicity being the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. So identifying what you don't need to pick up at this time, identifying what needs to be worked on and eliminating everything that you don't need to do it, so that the team doesn't get overwhelmed with so many things. Because all this while we have been used to working in traditional way, we did everything in a right way, and people felt very comfortable initially, but later on we started to get to know the truth at the end of the project. Now, what using enterprise agility, what we are doing is we are focusing on the value and working towards more and more towards that. So it's not that overwhelming. Also, we take a problem, we simplify it, and we deliver solutions, and that too faster and on time. So that leads to the success in the changing times.
Absolutely. Yeah, so a lot of great points, right? So I would like to paraphrase some of the points for the benefit of the audience. So what, like, there are two main things I heard. Like, one is complexity, second is simplicity, right? So very contrasting, but very true things, right? One is we have to understand that things are complex and embrace that and be ready to probe and respond, right? Like, I think Jigar, you were referring to the Kunavin framework that talks about how to handle complex domain. So that is on one side, yes, that we have to do. Second is, we also have to embrace simplicity, or rather strive for simplicity, and believe that everything can be broken down into smaller parts. Everything can be probably handled in the simpler fashion. And and I also liked the two more things. I think one thing that Jigar you brought in was focus on people, right? Rather than only focusing on this is these are the three roles, three events or five events that we have to do, and get on with it. Start practicing it from tomorrow. Or here is the book for XP, and just do it from tomorrow. Rather than that, focusing on people, understanding from them where they are and what have they sensed as changing, and giving importance to that. I think very critical. And lastly, I think the leadership, right? I think I was actually um, taking a course, and one statement really struck me, which said that there are three things that leaders do that really impacts the organizational culture. One is what they say, second is what they do, and third is what they avoid. So whatever they say, whatever they do, and then whatever they say is the good thing, definitely goes inside, deep inside people's mind, and saying that, yeah, if I do this, then it is considered to be good here. That is the culture that we have here. So thank you for bringing up all of these great points, Jigar and Jasmine. Moving on, there is one, when we were basically looking at how enterprise agility and the bright world aspect maps together, there was one thing that we were thinking about is how can enterprise agility basically navigate us like how can enterprise agility help us to navigate through various challenges that are faced in the bright world? So any thoughts from the panel? Any thoughts, Samir, would you like to share?
Yeah, you briefly referred to culture, and one of the success factors obviously is to understand the culture of the group or the enterprise where we are looking to implement agile or agility. As they say, I know it's a cliched statement, but it's true. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's very well to draw up a very great strategy to implement agile, but if the culture is not conducive or the people that make up the culture are not ready, then it's a futile exercise. I would like to cite a specific example. I was part of a group wherein we were tasked with starting to implement agility and agile practices across the organization, and we obviously started with the IT group. And en route uh, we met with a lot of different kinds of resistance. A specific instance I would like to pinpoint is that one of the reluctance of a lot of people was the agile has roles like scrum master and product owner, and somehow a lot of people felt that scrum master role is something that is done by a team lead kind of person. If I am a delivery manager, if I am a project manager, or whatever is the designation of that company, then it is demeaning for me to perform the role of a scrum master. And the actual, I quote the dialogue, scrum master is a team leader. If I do that, then it's like a demotion for me. So it becomes very difficult in such a culture. I would not like to say it is toxic. Probably it's the mindset of that particular group or organization. So you can very well say, I want to implement Agile. You might tick a few boxes. But if the mindset remains the same, then it's a paper exercise and it's not very effective. So it becomes more imperative to understand the mindset, to try and change the culture. Obviously it doesn't happen overnight, and that is why one of the ways to navigate through challenges of such ilk is to try and do a top down approach as opposed to a bottom up approach. Whether we like it or not, if the directive is starting at the top and then it is driven through, then there's a more chance of things succeeding. I'm not saying it's a foolproof strategy, but it's much better than if you try to do it bottom up. So it's quite imperative that while navigating through the challenges, and one of the challenges is obviously the culture and the mindset, it becomes imperative that things get bought in at the top management level and they are completely on board if we have to implement enterprise agility. That's my view.
Sure. Yeah.
I think in terms of enterprise agility, helping the organizations navigate through the bright world, that by and large, it is so volatile and brings across a lot of challenges, etc. from time to time. I think again, from the mindset point of view, in a way, the concept of enterprise agility and this whole mindset shift, that it brings, it is by itself uh, uh, redefining the word challenge itself, right? Because in the bright world, it is not always clear whether something which is seen as a challenge for the enterprises is actually a challenge or is it a great learning opportunity, something which is called as an acceptation uh, to go and learn and emerge even stronger from it. So I think that mindset shift aspect plays a very big role in helping the organization navigate through this bright world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is a journey, like an organization starts. It's not that we have achieved, agility. It's a journey. They start small and then they continuously learn and improvise. So, enterprise agility is offering the organization the culture to become such that the teams and everybody, all the teams together are learning and changing. So it becomes a continuous learning organization. And enterprise an organization that is agile would mean that the one that continuously learns and improvises. So that's how they are able to manage the changes or challenges that are coming.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. A lot of great points. I think that how organizations need to be learning, right? And that learning will also give them opportunities to look at challenges, right? Whatever are the challenges that are thrown at them, like the black swan moments, like pandemic, right? What are the challenges, and what do we learn, and how do we emerge stronger? How do we become more resilient, right? That is what enterprise agility will definitely help them. If they are not stuck into this is how things are done here, and we cannot change it, then probably it might help them. And also going back to the point which Samir was mentioning about the buy-in from the leadership, right? I think it is great and very important. And one of the main points that even in the John Cotter's change model talks about building a powerful guiding coalition, right? And that a guiding coalition can really become powerful when there is a strong leadership support. And most of the places where we like, at least I have seen very successful embracing of enterprise agility is when the leadership is very clear about why they are doing what they are doing, and and is giving a clear message to the whole enterprise about why is this important for us, and why do we need to start on this journey. As Jasmine, you rightly said, it is a journey, and why do we need to take this journey? Why is it important for the enterprise, to survive and to thrive in today's world? So, great points. I think we have had, and any other points before we can move to the question answers? There are a couple of questions from the audience, but any last thoughts on any of the questions that we discussed on the key success factors or challenges?
I think we move to the questions.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Great. Okay. So the first question is, what is the difference between VUCA and Bright? Like VUCA world has been a very famous term some time back, right? Everybody would talk to, and then we used a new term, Bright world. So what is the difference between VUCA and Bright world? Um, I can maybe start on it because I was among one of the people who thought about this topic. So, so basically, VUCA world, as we say, it is a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, right? So, and it has this particular acronym has been very popular. We have been using it for a very long time, and especially in the context of agile, and the complexity that agile helps to navigate in term and so on. What I heard is, from like at least from 2020 onwards, people want to move to a more positive word than VUCA, because VUCA is also kind of scary, right? When we are talking about uncertainty and complexity and ambiguity everywhere. So one of the, like, there are many different new words that are being proposed. I'm sure you might have heard of Bani also, but we liked Bright because Bright in itself brings a lot of positivity and brightness that all of us would like to look at. And it also talks about some good aspects of they're very real aspects of today's world, like for example being interconnected, being global, being high tech, right? And also of course there is a risk, and how everything is merging together, how the boundaries are getting blurred and so on. So I personally feel that these two terms look at they still represent the world today, but then they look at it in a different way, right? Like rather than looking at anything which is of negative connotation and which might scare people, Bright is attempting to look at it in from a positive light, though it is still talking about the realities that we have today. That's my answer, but please feel free to add any of you.
I think Yashashree, you rightly said that the word itself brings. We understand that it's bringing the current changes are bringing a lot of challenges. There are a lot of difficulties. People are going through a lot of difficulties. At the same time, collectively, the world has grown in terms of there were several technologies that were existing earlier, but today we see the implementation has happened. Like everything we are getting online, it is available. We are connecting with people everywhere, so no matter how challenging it is, there is always some brighter aspect to it that we can tap on.
Sure, sure. Spot on. Thank you for sharing your views on that. We have another
Yeah.
question. Do you want to add anything, Chikar?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, so I mean, all I was going to add is that so of course VUCA is there, but then there are also the positives, certain aspects of it. For example, interconnected is again a big aspect of today's world, right? Or today's enterprise. So I think it only makes that previous term VUCA more holistic. Yeah, that's all. Thanks, Yash.
Sure, sure. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next question, we have a question which talks about what do you say if each team lead does an HR role for their team members to create comfort feel and creating accountability as a culture? So team leads doing HR roles to create that comfort feel and creating accountability as a culture. Any thoughts around this?
Uh, yeah,
Yes,
I
Amir.
would like to weigh in on this. Well, I would first of all not like to demarcate it as an HR role. It's more of a leadership role that if you are a leader, whether a team leader or a project lead or a group lead, it is one of your KRAs is obviously to ensure that there is a psychologically safe and conducive atmosphere within the team so that people can perform their roles, perform their work in an unhindered manner. So it's nothing that it is an HR role or X role or Y role. It's a role of a leader at any level that he or she is required to perform. That's my view. Thank you.
Sure.
True. Totally agree with Samir. And yes, I think the human aspect, so HR is human resources, and the human aspect of Agile, uh, has been one of the key aspects. And it's great to see nowadays the leaders valuing that aspect a lot. So, for example, the ideas of employee engagement, the psychological safety, right? And so these were the ideas that were only in the zone of HR at some point in time. But now, today, the agile leaders, they give a lot of importance and they work with a lot of issues or the aspects pertaining to people and engagement. So I think this is something that's already happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's just also like reminding of this Agile Manifesto principles, right? Which talks about build projects around motivated individuals and give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. So definitely, something that all the Agile leaders take up, right? Ensuring that their teams are performing to the
True.
best, to
True.
their best abilities. Yeah. There are a couple of more questions, so maybe we can take those. We have 5 more minutes. So one of the questions is, how do you ensure being agile versus doing agile?
Yeah.
I think I would like to start on this. Uh, it is not about doing agile. Like it's not about okay, this is written and we follow this. it doesn't work that way. It's about being agile, incorporating that in the mindset, working to like Agile has given us the manifesto, but you have to take the context as per the scenario that you are working on, and accordingly, work towards what sorry, the kind of results that you're looking for. So I'm sorry, I have some issue. Yeah. Sorry, Yashashri, I'm getting disconnected.
No problem. We'll come back to you, Jasmine. Anybody wants to add?
Yeah, I would like to add. I'd like to address both of the questions together. The second one as well. It's about being agile, as Jasmine rightly said. And many times I have seen in my experience that in the zeal to follow the correct practices, sometimes people miss the bigger picture. We all need to understand in the first place why we are trying to implement agile. And in most cases than not, the final objective is to ensure that you deliver results faster, you deliver more predictable or try to deliver more predictable results, and you ensure customer satisfaction, customer delight. So you might follow X number of processes correctly, but if you're not finally delighting the customer, if you're not adding value to the customer, then whether you follow the safe or any other flavor of agile, it's immaterial. And in my opinion, it's really not contributing or adding value. So more than just doing agile, the mindset should always be to be agile, being agile, and ensuring that you deliver value not only to your customers but also to your team, to your organization, to the groups that are getting impacted by the work that you're doing. That's my view on these two questions.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely right.
So basically, when we say that, we embody what we are saying. So let's say leadership is promoting that everybody speaks up and owns up, and let's say if something goes wrong, people own up. But at the same time, if the leaders are punishing those who are owning up their mistakes, we are all humans, right? We are talking about human aspect. And if the leadership will punish those, what are we promoting then? Like earlier, Yashashri, the point that you mentioned, what they are saying, what they're doing, and what they're rewarding. So if a person who owns up the mistake is acknowledged for the courage that they show, then we are embodying what we are saying, and we are being agile, not just saying that this has to be followed and this has to be done this way. So it's actually practicing itself. And for leaderships, it's not about giving instructions. It's about changing their, it's not being about giving the instruction, but giving freedom to them. So it's not just about, writing rules and sending it out. It's about actually following that. That is in the two terms when we be agile.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Thanks, Jasmine. And I also wanted to add something to the second, to the last question rather, which talks about how do you handle the challenge of safe into bracket fake agile taking over enterprise, as it offers them the easy route of doing waterfall packaged as agile. Uh, if the person who is asking the question, or if the person who wants to know how to handle this challenge is an agile coach, I think you know the answer. The answer is by asking powerful questions, right? Like ask questions about not about whether a person is following a practice or multiple practices or has these roles or not, but looking at what are the outcomes that we are trying to achieve, are we achieving those? And then we also spoke about several success factors in this like the six factors that Jigar spoke about, right? or whatever are the most important things that the business feels is the right outcome, or the employees feel is the right outcome, and then keep inspecting. Are we able to get there? Are we able to make progress, inspect that and adapt? I think that is the right way, probably, irrespective of which framework is being used, right? I mean, people love to use frameworks because I think frameworks are great enablers, right? They bring some set of rules, ideas, beliefs, and they also describe, they claim that they are bringing a lot of things that have worked elsewhere, right? So any leadership for that matter would love to look at some frameworks and see if, rather than reinventing the wheel, see if it is working out in one particular example, right? Because it is bringing some proven, ready to use kind of things and so on. So they may help, some organizations, they may not help some other organizations. I think as agile coaches, which I think many of you are, or agile leaders for that matter, probably we need to continue to ask questions, ask the questions: are we on the right track? See where we are, and adapt to be better. I think that is something that can probably help. Small tip. Yeah, I think
It
we are.
also
Yeah.
also brings us to the fact that Agile, there are experiences and practices and principles shared in Agile. Agile is not prescribing direct do method like you have to do it this way. So
Yeah.
some organizations they do like how the question is there, right? So we also experienced it. So teams were divided, but individually in teams we were doing small waterfalls. So
Yeah.
that is not the main objective of it. The main objective is to get the main benefits of what agile practices have to offer. And that
True.
is
True.
we have to take what we need. It's a resource. We have to take what helps us and leave away what doesn't help us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great. Okay. Great. I think a lot of great points about the bright world, as well as about enterprise agility, success factors, what is helping us in enterprise, embracing enterprise agility, how leadership culture helps us, and what is doing agile versus being agile. So I think we are on top of time, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you very much for taking out your time and doing this panel discussion. I'm really sure that it has definitely helped the viewers and people who participated in the same. Thank you very much, everybody, on behalf of Agile Network India.
Thank you.
Thank you. We enjoyed the
Thank you.
discussion equally.
Thank you, Yashashri. Thank you, Sameer, Jigar, Jasmine. So this brings basically to the end of our today's session. But before we end it, I would like to say thank you to the panel and how they brought their own experiences and examples and stories into the answers, made it more relatable and more helpful, I think, for people to understand, not only agile coaches, but people who are beginner also. Such experiences and examples and stories help them understand better. So I would like to say thank you as well. And thank you on behalf of Agile Network India to the whole panel. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.
So before
Bye.
we our today's session, I would like to inform that tomorrow we have another set of 6 events happening on 28th March. So I would request everyone to join that event on time, and happy Holi to everyone in advance. So thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.